But it's not. It's we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good.
Oh, this golly.
To be as loud as the disrespect was.
All
That's
right.
all I need. It was a bad shot, but he was out of
Don't try
rhythm
to
as well.
don't try to take up. That was a
Man,
bad
he
shot.
was out of rhythm though.
Kendall, what a way to end the SWAC season.
Bro. What?
What a way to end the season, bro. Was that the greatest game? Was that game of the year?
Definitely up there. Definitely up there.
How
One of the
can
best games I've seen this college football season for sure.
the only thing that could have made it better was us being there and Coach Robinson getting on the stage and saying, "I'm SWAC."
Yeah, it definitely. It was a great game, man. It was great. It was. Shout out to Swagger the Fool, man.
Shout out to
It
SWAC.
was great to see. It was great to see both teams go at it for the whole game. I haven't seen I haven't seen the Jackson State game that close all year, so it was nice to see them actually have a challenge. And Central did what they had to do, man. I love
Man,
the
they
way that
got a
they
great
played that
game
game,
plan.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love their game plan. Their game plan was really good. Especially the way that they kept on they kept doing what they know how to do. I think a lot of teams is very easy for them to go back on. All right, Jackson State is doing this, so we got to do this and get out of our comfort zone a
He
little
said,
bit.
"I'm
And
drinking this in."
yeah, I feel like it just makes it a little difficult. But I love what Central did with their game plan. Their game plan was really nice.
Absolutely. We're gonna get a couple more people in here before we get started, y'all. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe as usual. Share this with whoever we appreciate all out of all of the SWAC platforms that are right now. We're glad you spending your evening with us. Spend it with me and Kendall.
Let us know what y'all thought about the game, man. I got something for y'all. I got something for y'all. I was
Um,
pissed. I'm not gonna lie watching the game. As part
you
of that,
had a
I was pissed off.
Kendall. I couldn't even have a conversation with you because you kept saying it shouldn't even been here. It shouldn't even been here.
It shouldn't
We
have.
couldn't even
It
have a
shouldn't
conversation.
have, bro. It shouldn't have.
But yeah, man, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm just happy that with being on a national stage like that we played, HBCUs in general, we played such a good game like that. We put on for the whole HBCU nation. Yeah, I mean beyond ASU and A&M and Central, we put on for the whole culture in that game right
Mhm.
there.
That's ultimately what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
And
And,
like I said, what was it? What was it when they had game day for Jackson State homecoming? That's what I wanted out of that. I
yeah,
wanted people to see that it's not just a Jackson State thing. Nah, it's a HBCU thing. Like
and
everybody's comp, everybody has this, everybody has that.
Kendall, and the talent was on a different the display of talent on both sides of the ball
Bro, it's
was
crazy.
Kendall. We could make the argument that North Carolina Central's quarterback, Davius Richard. I'm sorry, this was me and Kendall's first time watching North Carolina Central. Very impressed by the way, all the Central friends out there. But Kendall, that he put on a display, you can make the argument he outplayed Shador the whole game.
I That wasn't really no argument for me.
For sure.
I had told you that during the game.
He put on the Deshaun Watson kind of display. You talking about some almost rushing for 100 yards and throwing 400 as well? That's crazy.
He was really valuable for them on the running tip too, like you had just mentioned.
Yeah,
It took his game to a whole nother level because it made him a lot more of a threat than just a regular passer.
for sure. But let's go ahead and get into this content. We're gonna read through the comment section once we get a little rhythm going on. But Kendall, what was your I don't even know where to necessarily start with this. What was your biggest takeaway from this game? Like, what was your reaction to how the format of the game was going? Because you kept telling me, so come down to 1 point. So come down to 1 point. It wasn't 1 point, but it felt like 1 point.
Yeah, I said I thought it was going to come down to 1 point because of the missed kick by Central. Games
Mm-hmm.
like this, especially when it's really competitive all around, they usually come down to a mistake. We've seen Jackson State games come down to mistakes, not at the end of the game, but you know, momentum building plays. It comes down to mistakes. And I really thought that Jackson State was going to do what they always do, capitalize on one little small mistake, and then next thing you know, that's the game. They end up winning by 1 point. But Jackson State also made some mistakes themselves, and that opened the door for Central to take control. And they pretty much did that. They did that throughout the whole game. I didn't expect it to go to OT. obviously, but
I,
I think that they did what they needed to do on both ends of the ball, but especially they put a lot of pressure on the defense.
they exposed Jackson
Jackson
State's
State.
defense. They exposed it. Like, I mean, Kendall, you had said all season, I think we both agreed, if they had ever played a team that had any kind of semblance of a quarterback, a really good
Mhm.
offense, a good play calling, they were going to struggle because offensively they were, on and off, hot and cold, but defensively, they hadn't been challenged like this all season. They haven't faced a complete offense. And I think we can both say North Carolina Central is a complete offense. They can run the ball, they can throw the ball with confidence, and they weren't. One thing that really sucked to me, Kendall, was they were attacking Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter was getting dogged this game. He, as
Yeah,
far as
yeah, he was.
on the
They
defensive
had him
side of the
working for
ball,
sure.
Kendall, he
Hmm.
looked like he was. I don't even. I mean, I guess I can't compare it to anything because he didn't really play the full season, so I can't really say that was just a one time thing or it was a reoccurring thing.
Hmm.
But he was he was terrible on defense today. He was terrible. He didn't make plays. He didn't give them the impact that they needed, and he was getting picked on.
I mean, you talked about it. You talked about it during the game. They did a very good job of testing their secondary early and often, and I think that that's one of the things that Jackson State really hasn't gotten much of this entire season. I think
Especially not
a lot of
deep.
yeah, I think a lot of people talked about the hype around Travis Hunter, and I mean, deservedly so. But at the same time, especially at a cornerback position, you want to test that corner as much as you can. They
Yeah.
did the same thing with Shiloh, and with in these type of games, all it takes is one play, all it takes is one move, and the next thing you know, you either hearing a band play or it's a really big game. And I think they did a really good job of that. And like Jarvis Mitchell just said, the trenches also. I think North Carolina Central they dominated in the trenches and they got the rush, especially when they needed it when they needed to. On Shador, and it forced Shador to make some passes that I don't think he would have made. It
Kendall, he didn't
forces
have time all day to throw on platform, except maybe
exactly.
maybe except that besides that last play, and that was
Hmm.
still, I think they rushed three on that because you don't want to overcommit and then allow him to scramble, especially the way he was beating them with his legs today. Because Shador doesn't
Yeah.
typically do that. Shador is pretty much basically, I'm gonna stand in the pocket, I'm gonna beat you in the pocket. And
Hmm.
today, North Carolina Central, they said, no, we're gonna get after you. And we're gonna force you to make plays off platform. We're gonna make you a playmaker. And
Yeah.
credit to Shador, he made plays. I think there was some out of the what was it? I think he had 5 incompletions. Those 5 incompletions, all of them were significant. He missed
He had 10.
10 incompletions.
Yeah, it felt like 5 though. Like it did. It felt like he had a pretty solid
He was efficient. He
throwing
was
game. Yeah.
efficient. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the ones that he did miss were crucial. He
Hmm.
missed guys across him. I saw him, underthrow guys, overthrow guys, and that's not something we usually saw from Chidor this season. He was
Yeah.
usually pretty comfortable, but when you start seeing the ghosts and the pressure starts coming throughout, the full game, it's a
Hmm.
different kind of vibe. And you
Oh
started
yeah,
we
for
did it,
sure.
we did the same thing to him.
Yeah.
Colton, I mean Bubba, our defensive line was able to get pressure on them too. But obviously, we didn't bring pressure the full game like I thought we should have. But we also didn't have the offense that North Carolina Central has.
Oh yeah. They're North Carolina Central's their defense played a great game, but I think the difference was their offense. We've seen a lot of teams, or we've seen a good amount of teams play some solid defense against Jackson State at times, but the offense not be able to do what they need to do.
Yeah,
That's one of the best defenses you'll see. We saw every time they've been on TV, you've seen different graphics about how good they are. I think it was one
defense in
graphic.
the FCS.
Yeah, and the point total too, like all of that stuff. They're at the top of the not just the league, but at the top of the FCS with that. So it's a very difficult defense to play against, and Central did a great job of pressing them. They did a great job of making them have to do things that they weren't comfortable doing, making a lot of open field tackles. That the running backs, like the running back core was breaking the first line of defense.
It wasn't a
Very.
one time. It wasn't a one hitter quarter thing. It was a you going to
Oh
break.
yeah,
He was
yeah.
carrying people. Kendall, I saw Aubrey Miller, and I don't want to make it about ASU in any kind of way, Kendall, because it's not
Mhm.
about us. But Kendall, where was Aubrey Miller today?
It just that this was definitely it probably was the worst game I've seen him play. I've seen him play definitely, but I don't think it was the worst game. It was probably the worst game he's ever played too
Where
this
was
season, especially.
I, Bubba? Wouldn't do the same thing. I'm just saying. I'm leaving that. Bubba wouldn't do that. That's all I'm gonna say about
But
that.
I mean, I think it just highlighted how great Central was playing, because when you get a lot of defensive players in space, it's hard to tackle in space. That's one of the hardest open field tackles to make, when you got to do it and it's just you and the ball carrier. That's a hard thing to do. And I
Mhm.
think that the running back core and the quarterback as well, they forced them to make some really tough plays. And some of them they made, but most of them they didn't. And I think that was the difference in the game. Those are momentum plays. And I mean, the officiating is one thing, but I think North Carolina Central made a lot of momentum plays, and I think that that's what helped them in the end.
Yeah, and I think that this was another case, and I told you this before the game. I've always said I don't think that Dion is a great play caller necessarily. I don't think he's great at managing the game. I think he's more of he's a great recruiter. He's a great, I have talent, but it's not hard when you got 5 stars knocking at your door. But the play calling wasn't great today. The defense wasn't great. You know, I just don't. This is something that it's not going to be exposed today because, like you said before, and when you're playing swag schools, when you have that kind of talent on the offensive side of the ball like they have, you can step on the field and just out talent everybody. But when you start
Mhm.
talking about when you go to Colorado and you're going to start playing these Power Five teams that might have as much talent, if not more than you, it's going to be a struggle. He's going to start getting exposed. And I think he got exposed as a coach today. He didn't make adjustments defensively to win the game. I think offensively they picked up, but
Mhm.
defensively there was no adjustment to stop the rushing attack of North Carolina Central.
I think the biggest thing for me, you already talked about the play calling and stuff like that. I think the biggest thing that stood out to me was the lack of late game execution.
Hmm.
I mean, we saw it was a whole thing, and that's part of it is officiating. But we saw the whole thing with Shador when he clocked the ball, and time was running off, and they was acting like it was a timeout.
Yeah.
That probably
That's the
would
play
have
that
been a
made you mad. That's what made you
bro.
mad.
I was pissed off
Get on your
about it. I'm
soapbox. Get on your
I'm gonna
soapbox.
get I'm gonna get to that in 1 second though. The When he clocked the ball, that should have been a timeout. If they had two timeouts before that, that would have been a timeout. But I forgot what they even called the timeout for their second one to make
Hmm.
them only have one. But whatever they called it on, you didn't need a timeout there. And so the late game execution, it probably shouldn't have came down to what it came down to because of
I'm not sure what happened to Kendall. We'll try to get him back in a second. But like the stream, of course, like the stream, comment, subscribe. Um, give Kendall a second here. Um, I'm gonna try to pick up on what Kendall said, where he left off at. Their late game execution wasn't great at all. They struggled to time management wasn't great. Shador was, I think, if they didn't have Shador at quarterback today, I think there would have been a lot. It could have been a blowout by any stretch of means. Here comes Kendall. We got him. We got him back, guys. I'm sorry.
I don't know why they just don't want me to be great, man. I don't
Just
know
go ahead,
why.
man. Go ahead. You're good.
But
You're good.
yeah, like I was saying, I don't think it wouldn't have came down to a last second touchdown catch by Travis Hunter if they would have had two touchdowns. I feel like they would have been able to kind of go down the field and kind of have a better mindset at what they wanted to do. But you using that second time out and then only having one time out, obviously you want to be closer when you call that last time out. It kind of set them up for failure. So that kind of stuck out to me more than anything else as far as what Deion Sanders didn't do or what could have been improved on and what the whole coaching staff could have improved on, because that put them in a hole that they didn't necessarily need to be in.
So defensive, when you're in a game like this, tell me
Mhm.
this: when you're in a game that's going back and forth, what adjustments can you make? Are you telling, as a coach, are you telling your defense just get one stop, or are you like focus on? I think it's a one drive kind of thing. Let me stop them. Let me don't focus on shutting them down for the whole second half. Focus on let's get this drive. Let's get this drive. Let's just put together a string of things. What were you thinking as far as a defensive minded player?
I mean, yeah, I think because like I said before, one mistake can cost you big in a game like this. One mistake can give the other team a whole bunch of momentum, all the
Mhm.
momentum even. So I think when it comes to games like this, you want to think of it, yeah, like kind of like how you said, one driver, possession, but at the same time, you also want to make sure that you're not sacrificing how you play defense in order to do something. So say if you're not a heavy blitzing team, you don't want to just overly blitz just for the sake of blitzing. You want to be smart about it, but you also want to make sure that, hey, if I can get this push with a 3-man rush or a 4-man rush, I'm gonna do that. So I need my defensive linemen to do what they need to do,
Mhm.
because especially the way that Shador plays, he can slice up a defense very easily if you give him openings. And I think Central did a great job of getting that. We talked about the defensive line already in the trenches. They did a great job of getting a rush on them to the point where you didn't really need to blitz as much.
And Kendall, as great as the rush was, he still didn't throw an interception. Like
Yeah,
everything he did, I think that. Do you think this is a case of Jackson State more beating themselves, or they just got outplayed?
personally, I think they got outplayed. I'm gonna give more. I'm
Credit to
gonna give
Central.
more credit. Yeah, I'm gonna give more credit to Central than I will say that Jackson State just beat themselves. I think Central did a great job. They had a great game plan and they executed it very well. Like I said, it's not many teams that can put together great games on both sides of the ball like
And
they
they
did
did it.
against Jackson State.
And they did it, especially in the second half. They came along with it, even when you know Jackson State started to seem like they were getting momentum. You know,
Mhm,
I'm gonna tell you this. Let me fast forward a little bit. If I'm Dion in that situation after Travis makes that catch,
mhm.
I'm going for two. I'm going for it.
You
You have
you
all
said
the
that. You said that.
you have all the momentum in the world on your side. Literally,
Mhm,
everybody is on your side. Boulder, Colorado included. And if I'm gonna lose this game, I'm gonna lose this game with the ball in my best player's hands. I'm not gonna give, North Carolina Central opportunity to dictate my future, dictate
mhm.
what happens in this point moving forward. I want the ball in Shador's hands, or giving Travis opportunity. And I don't think that there was a lack of, especially the way that Coach Prime has coached throughout this season when he played us specifically, going
Mhm.
for it on fourth down. It surprised me that he didn't go for it.
It surprised me too. I mean, because you said that during the game, and I thought that's what was going to happen. Usually, he's a all right.
He's a
I'm gonna
risk
just put
taker.
all I'm gonna put all the chips on the table, and it's just gonna be what it is. So that was really interesting to me because I thought that that's what they were gonna do. I feel like OT they still had an opportunity to win the game, or they still had an opportunity to be competitive. I mean, the
Even
dude would
beyond
have caught the
that,
ball.
you still had another down after that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
honestly think that you should have ran the ball in personally. I don't know why. I mean, I know Shador is a great passer. 40 pass attempts is great.
Hmm.
But you have Savion Wilkerson down there now. Granted, he struggled. Their offensive line struggled to get a push today. But I would have given him opportunity. They were close. They were literally, what was it, maybe a 3 or 4 yard line.
Yeah,
Why?
I mean, but you also got to think about the fact that the play worked. He just ain't catch the ball.
I'm talking about the fourth down, the fourth and goal play after the drop pass.
Oh, okay, I got you. I got you.
Like I think you should have given him the opportunity to run the ball a couple times. The Marshawn Lynch kind of deal. Why are you throwing the ball? That because
So
that
you
fourth
mean so
down
you
play
mean you mean throwing? I mean you mean running the ball before that fourth down play or after the fact? I mean
after
like so. Wait, before I'm
when
talking
it,
like so first, second, and third. You saying run the ball
I think you
because
could have
fourth
ran up
down I kind of get it on fourth down.
on fourth down. I want him to run the ball.
Okay,
I think you were close enough in the red zone to push the ball in. Personally, I'm giving my guys a chance. My 1,000 yard rusher, the best running back in the SWAT list. I'm giving the opportunity to punch the ball in.
I mean like you said, put the ball in the playmaker's hands. I understand that. I do.
And that because that fourth down play didn't have it didn't stand a chance.
Hmm.
There was nowhere for Shador to go. He was under
Yeah.
pressure and he overthrew the guy.
Once he dropped that ball, I was like, yeah, that's it's very hard to do that, to do a turnaround like that in
Hmm.
one play. It's
It
very hard
sucked
to
the
do.
life out the team, and you felt it.
Oh
You
yeah, for sure.
you knew that there was no, and that was a great play call. To great credit to the offensive coordinator
It
for him to
was. It
be
was.
that wide open. He just dropped it, and I'm not putting I'm honest. I'm not putting the whole game on that drop. Though I'm not defense.
I'm.
You
Oh yeah, I'm not either.
you're the greatest defense in the SWAC, the best defense in HBCU right now,
Hmm.
and you gave up 41 points. It
That's
comes down
true.
to that.
To be honest, man, I gotta give my credit. I gotta tip my hat to Coach Oliver, North Carolina Central's coach.
Mhm.
He did a great job of keeping his guys in the game. we talked about officiating throughout the game. Officials missed a lot of calls in this game. A lot of calls for Central they missed. We saw a lot of unnecessary roughness calls that just were not called. Jackson State, we talked about that in the last 30 seconds. They clocked the ball, but then I guess refs didn't know what was going on. So basically, Jackson State had a free timeout.
pretty
They only
much.
had one timeout, but they gave, I guess, refs just didn't know what was going on and they gave him a free timeout. Coach Oliver, he kept his players in the game the entire game. And that's not an easy thing to do when the whistle is not going in your favor at all.
Especially not in a championship game.
Exactly. And especially when you have so much momentum going to it. And the refs are one of the main reasons why the game is close.
Mm-hmm.
No discredit to what Jackson State can do on the field, but I really think they benefited from the officiating calls today. Because if the officiating was different, I don't think that it would have gone to overtime. I truly don't think that it would have gone to overtime. So when you're looking at how Central played as a collective, they played great under pressure. As a collective, they did what they needed to do when they needed to do it. So I'm looking at them and I'm giving all my kudos to the players, but also the coach. Because that speaks, that's where Jackson State gets you a lot. Is you'll have times, that's where they got us. We had times when we were being positive, and then one thing led to another. We got emotional and we got out of the game,
We
and it
would have
cost us
we would have killed ourselves in this game with penalties.
for sure.
This isn't the game. You could tell that if you put ASU in this game, we would have beat ourselves because
Because frustration builds. It takes a really good team mentally
Mhm.
to not only battle with what's going on the field, but also battle with what's going on in your mind too. Like
Exactly.
that's a tough thing to do, especially with the way that the game is. I mean, this is the biggest game of your season at this point.
And not to mention the fact this is Dion's last game. You can't tell me
Oh, for sure.
Coach Oliver went in the locker room. That wasn't bulletin board material. We're gonna send him out with an L.
And the crazy part was you also had a whole bunch of disrespect about I think one of the reporters they called Central A&T, like people were talking about Dion nonstop. He was talking about Jackson State nonstop. And they came in and proved why they deserve to be there. Not only deserve to be there, but why they deserve to win.
I think that in this scenario, Jackson State was us in this game. They were undisciplined. They because you saw Shador doing some uncharacteristic things, like when he ran the guy over in the end zone. Well, that should have been a flag. Honestly, should have been a flag running the guy over, and you stand over him.
Oh yeah, for
But
sure.
I think that I will say that even beyond Jackson's what they went through this game,
Mhm.
they were still in the game. Like somehow beyond all the distractions, they were focused. You know the uncertainty of your coaching, what's going to happen next year, and they still managed to still battle in this game and give themselves an opportunity.
Mhm. That's
So
true.
I was impressed with that. I do think that I just I'm just not high on this on what the play calling look like this game on Jackson State's behalf. I'm
Mhm.
really not. I think that you talking about Savion Wilkerson getting 15 carries, 15.
Yeah, yeah,
I
they
mean,
definitely should have gotten more.
if you listen to the commentary, one thing they were saying was the success to the way the key to North Carolina Central's success was they were keeping Jackson State off the field. They
Mhm.
were dominating the time possessions, which is important
Oh
in these
yeah,
kind of games.
yeah, that was big. That was big for them for sure.
Yeah, speak on that for real quick. The importance of controlling the clock in these kind
I
of
mean, when
games
you got a high-powered offense that can do whatever they want to do,
at any
pretty
time.
much to anybody,
Yes,
you want to keep them off the field. I
yeah.
mean, you watch NFL football. What do people talk about? Keeping Tom Brady off the field, keeping this
The
player,
Chiefs,
keeping this
Patrick
quarterback off
Mahomes.
the field. Like that's crucial to a team's success, especially when you're going up against a great offense, which Jackson State is. Regardless of whatever their detractors might say, they're a great offense.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it showed just the game plan. Because I mean, I'm pretty sure Central could have scored quicker and easier.
Hmm.
But nah, like we're gonna run the clock out. We're gonna make y'all have to work for it. And we're gonna see what y'all got at the end of the day. And I think that's what they did. They did a great job of it, and that's what won them the game.
Yeah, because 44 rushing attempts, like you're talking about your running back getting 17 carries and your quarterback getting 22 carries. Now, 22 carries wasn't designed runs;
Mhm.
most of them were scrambles. But 44 carries for 276, you're talking about defensively they're the number one rushing defense in the SWAC, and they weren't able to generate any kind of pass rush on this dude. at all.
Now, I will say it does make it a lot easier when you're having running success. I think if they weren't getting positive yardage all the time, if they were getting stopped in the backfield, and like you said before, the quarterback, it was sacks instead of runs or tackles for loss.
Hmm.
Then yeah, I think it's a lot harder to run the clock out when that happens. But they had a great success on the ground, and I think that's what really helped them to have more time on the clock. They, like you said, they killed them in time of possession, and that was really the game, to be honest.
Yeah, and like I said, I still think Shador played a really good game, but he simply got outplayed. I think they got outcoached to a certain degree as well.
Hmm.
It wasn't on full display. It wasn't on full disclosure like that, but they definitely did get outcoached play style wise. But let's get into some of these comments we got. Kendall, with JSU losing a lot of firepower to Coach Brown's departure, I believe the East will come into Bama State and FAMU. We have to get to recruiting before I put us in the conversation with FAMU. I got to see what we do recruiting wise. Kendall, I don't know what you think about that comment right there.
I mean, yeah, I agree. For those of you that's in here from Alabama State, our pretty much our best wide receiver,
Jeremiah Hickson.
Jeremiah Hickson, he just entered his name in the transfer portal. So, and there could definitely be more players that do so, and I think that opens the door for a lot of different changes for this team next year. Nothing's guaranteed, especially in the game of college football at this point. So I think it's a lot that both teams have to do. To be honest, I
Mhm.
I, I
And
really
Kendall,
think
Jackson State's just not going to fall off either.
that's true too. That's true too. It's not like a situation where everybody's going to transfer. I mean, if those of you who saw the video of I believe his name is TC Taylor being
Mhm.
named Jackson State's head coach, the team loves him. I mean, the ovation for him and everything that was real. So I definitely think that they can benefit from that. I don't think it's going to be a mass transfer portal for everybody. So I think that they're going to be there. FAMU is definitely going to be there. I want us to be there, but it's a whole bunch of other teams that could get better too. So I really think that it's definitely possible. But I have to see what's done in the offseason because a lot of different things could change.
Yeah, because
Um,
I also am still going to throw A&M in that conversation too, because I think they'll definitely be back next year.
mhm. I mean, it's up. I mean, like we said, like we were saying during the season, it was competitive. It
Hmm.
was definitely competitive, even if teams wasn't going in there with positive records, it was still competitive.
For sure. Um, the same needs to change its offensive mindset and go back to being a run first league. I mean, Kendall, you can never get away from running the ball. I
Hmm.
mean, I think that even in today's NFL, as much as teams, you look at teams like the Kansas City Chiefs who like to throw the ball a lot. What's their biggest weakness? Why do they always lose games? They can't control the clock. The running game allows you to control the clock, and it allows you to maintain possession of the game.
Yeah, definitely. It makes all the difference in the world.
Definitely, definitely. Last comment here, unless you have anything else that you wanna say. Snap back to reality. Like I said, I don't think Jack State's just gonna fall off, Kendall. I really don't. I don't believe
Mhm.
that this is just the end of Jack State. And I don't think they'll be as dominant. I don't think they're gonna go undefeated. But I also don't believe that you can just count out a SWAC champion.
That's true. I mean, when Deion Sanders first announced that he was going to Colorado, I think it was a lot of uncertainties, and I feel like in the past like 2 weeks that we've had to kind of for stuff to kind of come out and for us to kind of hear
And
what
there's
was
gonna be
going
more
on.
information that comes out too.
Yeah, I think we've had a lot of time to have some of those questions answered that weren't answered when he first announced it. Who's going to be the head coach? Who all was going with Dion? What coaching staff was he taking? All of that type of stuff. I think most of it has been answered, and it looks a little bit brighter for Jackson State than I originally thought it was going to be.
Still getting recruits.
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be something to see for sure. I definitely don't think it's going to be the same amount of success, but so far, at least they've maintained some sort of success so far. We'll see who enters the transfer portal. I feel like there's going to be some players that do that after this game.
Mhm.
So
Some may declare for the draft as well.
yeah, so we'll see what happens.
I think Kendall, you have to look at it like this personally. Think about the year after Katie left the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors, yes, they fell off due to injuries, but then the next year they were right back in the conversation. It's just rebuilding. It's about, I think that's what makes great culture. Once one person leaves, it's a big drop off. But I
Mhm.
think there's, like I said, they're still gonna stick around. They're not just gonna fall off, y'all. They're gonna be competitive.
Yeah, games like this also help with recruiting too. Help a lot. I mean, it proves that for one, it's a great atmosphere. I think both you could see that on TV, and even the way that there was one thing
I wish
I
we were
kind
at
of
the game, bro. I would regret that
yeah,
now.
yeah, because that's one thing I do have to say about the production. I feel like could be a lot better. It
Hmm.
doesn't really give off like the what it really feels like to attend a HBCU game, especially a Celebration Bowl.
Mm-mm.
You know, them not showing the halftime show. You know, them just it doesn't feel like you're at an HBCU game. It feels like you're just watching another college game sometimes. But I really feel like it was just great to see HBCU football be displayed the way that it was.
You
Like
have
I
to
said,
be there, Kendall, to really
for
understand
sure. Oh
what is
yeah,
going on.
being
You
there would
can't
probably
just
be a totally different experience.
yeah,
Definitely.
you if you're just an outsider looking in, like say you're just your casual Power Five player,
Mhm.
fan watching the HBCU game, you're not gonna be able to. It's a completely different experience than going to an Alabama football game. It's gonna be the same intensity, but
Mhm.
it's gonna be a different kind of environment.
For sure, for sure. And at the end of the day, respect to both teams. Congratulations to North Carolina Central.
Mhm.
Especially, they did what they needed to do. But one of the biggest things for me is they put on for HBCU football today. That's something for all of us to be proud of, no matter what conference you claim, no matter what division you claim, whatever it is. HBCU football was greatly represented today.
And I really do think it was great to see Travis make that play at the end of the game.
Mhm.
Especially just for the media to see, because everybody thought he just due to his injuries, they thought he just fell off the face of the earth. But to
Mhm.
make that catch, Kendall, and the throw,
It was legit. It was definitely legit.
yeah, I do like I said, I think he played a better game receiver wise and defensive wise, but that's another conversation for another day. But
I agree.
you know, you got anything else you want to say before we wrap up this episode?
Nah, bro, I don't really have anything else. Comments got anything else? We
Not
did a
as
lot of
live as we
talking.
usually are right now, but I'm
Yeah,
sure it's a lot
yeah.
of people talking about this game right now, so we know we're fine.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So yeah, we definitely wanted to see, what you guys thought. We had a couple of opinions that we had to get off our chest for sure. So um hey, if you guys don't have anything else, I don't have anything else. That might be a wrap, bro.
It might be a wrap. All right, y'all. As usual, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the stream. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Donate to the Cash App, All Cards UK. We should be back here. We're gonna try to get maybe two more episodes out for the end for the year's over. Stay safe over the holidays. Uh, and that's it. See y'all next time
Happy holidays, y'all.
for sure.